days of Dunkirk amongst all the plenty of big boys as well, the 19-year-old, and he's in the black here. Great time trialist though is Johan Peyo, and he just resets his rhythm, and I'm sure he's going to get back to Pedersen, but that was a nice little counterpunch just to remind Peyo who Mads Pedersen believes is the boss here, and I think he knows he's got a chance of victory today. Oh, it's all curtains, I'm afraid, for Castelbianco. He's been in the break for much of the day. The man who won the Tour of Colombia, not going to be his win today, and he very much pale of pallor, as you can see. And so it is that trio, and great to see a not a reformed character, but at least found a little bit more drive here, is Eneko Lizarralde in the pale green of Marius Taldea. He's holding on to some big names. Oli Gak from Francis de Jeux, the big threat to the overall, may well take the lead if they manage to hold on. He's only 13 seconds down. We have Sutterlin, Josh Sutterlin from Movistar at 35 seconds adrift, and Chris Juul Jensen at 56 seconds off the pace. But it's about this man, what he can do in partnership with Peyo, the time trialist. So, time trialist versus puncher. I suggest the puncher in the black out of this duo has got to be the favourite if this pair make it.
The thing is, it just shows a little bit of immaturity there. He must have known that Peyo was strong enough. He wants to go on his own. Pedersen, the man in the black at the front, and the cohesion between these two riders is now no more. We think that Peyo is going to sit behind Pedersen a little bit more now, because when he goes to the front, he'll be worried that Pedersen are going to attack him. These four riders, especially the three in front, because the rider at the back, Lizarralde for Marius Taldea, was in the original breakaway. So Juul Jensen for Tinkoff, Sutterlin of Movistar, and Le Gak of France de Jeux are coming up close to Pedersen and Peyo to make it 5. They're saying it's only 26 seconds now, but just look at the distance now back to the main peloton.
And more than that, Brian, look at the demeanour, look at the cadence of the chasers. This is Europcar thinking, you know what, we've blown it again. And I think they're absolutely right. 1 minute and 4 down, 24 seconds. There is our Colombian. Castelbianco was in the break for much of the day. Only one of the original breakaway riders is still up the road. I'm afraid it's, well, Pedersen and Peyo, I should say, are up the road. One of the others, Lizarralde, is still with the chasing trio. They're 23 seconds back. They may well make it back on, but I think the chances of a big coming together for a mass sprint finish are thinning as we watch. "16 kilometres to go, a little less than that right now. 22 seconds is the gap out front. And Pedersen and Peyo trying to work, and it's coming down, but it's coming down slowly. Maybe they are just working together finally. They've buried their differences just for now. Of course, it'll be everyone for themselves towards the line. These guys who thought they may well be teed up for a sprint finish at the end of today possibly can think again. Still 15.4 to go, but there's a reasonable amount of downhill run and then that drag up. They can still get back to them, Brian, with if they are determined to do so. But if they don't want to put in the work rate, they're not going to get the reward.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. It's putting in the work rate at the front of the peloton, and that's what Europcar did yesterday in the longest stage, and they never got the result in the end, never even got to top 10. So again, for the second day, they've sat back, but they're now on the front. What other teams are going to help them? I can't see many teams wanting to help. France de Jure in a good place with Le Gak down the road. He's only at 13 seconds, 31st in the general classification. If I was these two riders now, Pedersen and Peyo, I would save a little bit of energy, because these riders are coming up fast now. It's only 14 seconds. They'll know they're coming up. These riders want to drive for the stage and also for the overall, especially the man in the France de Jeux colours of white, blue and red, number 34. That's why he's driving at the front. Juul Jensen already showed yesterday he's on good form, strong towards the ends, and strong again yet today. They've got a passenger at the back from the third division, Marius Taldea, and Lizarralde, who's in the original breakaway. So wait for the riders coming up, combine their forces, because the peloton are still at 55 seconds.
Big storm clouds gathering, but they're behind them right now. We're in the sunshine, the shadows have sharpened. And these guys need to sharpen up their act as well. Maybe it is, as Brian, you were saying, a little bit of lack of experience. They are young men. Let's not forget. Peyo, 24, by far the senior. Pedersen only 19. They need to just preserve themselves a little bit, get back with Ollie Gak and Josh Sutterlin, maybe have a little bit of a chance. Juul Jensen, I would suggest, is favourite amongst all of this group for the stage win. However, it'll be Ollie Gak that takes the lead unless there's a chase down. And at the moment, it's being led by Europcar. They must be getting sick of this, Brian. They did most of the work yesterday to no avail. Brian Coquard, who is the out-and-out best sprinter here on paper, certainly didn't. It was shredded yesterday.
Yeah, they've got a hard job ahead. Okay, there's still time to be able to do this. 49 seconds now, coming up to 12.5 kilometres to go. The problem is these three riders in front, they're not too worried about the passenger they've got at the back from the third division Spanish team, Moreas Taldea. It's if these two riders combine, if they are passengers, but the three riders of Juul Jensen, Lagak and Sutherland really have to drive these things, but it does look as if the gap between them and the peloton are maintaining about 40 odd 50 seconds now, because it's I think it's about 3 or 4 in the head of the peloton against 3 driving at the front.
They've just come up a little plateau. You saw the little rise. They will go down into a little dip, and then they will start to climb towards the finish. At the finish itself, there's quite a ramp, Brian, and then a final turn with only about 35 meters to go. It's sort of a false turn almost, but the quickest way through, if it does turn into a sprint situation, is to be on the left-hand side of the road. So it'll be right as we look at it heads up, but left-hand side of the road. It could be quite a battle, this. 12.2 to go. The power that's up the road is capable of holding off the chasers if they're not determined. And to my mind, they don't look it.
Well, there's 3 riders from Europcar, 1 from Auber 93, which means that there's 4 riders chasing at front of the peloton. We have now got 6 riders at the front of the race, but only 3 of them are driving, 3 of them are in the original breakaway. I'm not too sure that Pedersen, if he uses his head now, is going to contribute. He's been in the breakaway, he's tried to go alone. He knows he's got the white jersey of Carbel in the group behind. He'll probably think, well, the best chances of winning is probably from Carbel today. I've left a lot out on the road. I've been attacking in the last few kilometres. It's very difficult for me now to think of the stage win with 3 fresher riders.
And we've got our King of the Mountains in the blue polka dot jersey, who's up towards the front, as you can see. Nice to see him up there. He did a lot of great work, the rider from Team Columbia, in the white polka dots. Nice to see that up towards the fore. White polka dots on a blue background for the mountains. I guess snow on the mountains? Who knows? And Columbia come up and join the fun as well. That's for Leonardo Duque.
Yeah, it is. And just noticed there the flick of the elbow from Martinez, and Arashiro just shook his head and said, no, I'm not riding. So it does look as if after yesterday the efforts of Europcar, a lot of the team are struggling today. We're maintaining the advantage to this group of 6 in front, so you can just see the riders full of riding are Juul Jensen, Lagak and Sutherland, but they've got 3 passengers with Pedersen, Payot and Lizarralde towards the back, and they were in the original breakaway, so they will not be contributing to the 3 in front.
They're going to be leaning on this man, Ollie Gak from Francis de Jeux, and he's called through again by Juul Jensen. I think there could be an agreement between the pair of them, because if Juul Jensen takes the stage, you'll get a 10-second bonus. He'll trim down his disadvantage, but he'll get the stage win, which would be quite nice for his Palmares. But Gak would take the lead in the overall. He'd be into the orange jersey on the back of today, and in fact it's they that have most to gain and are being expected to do most of the work, and they're doing it.
Yeah, it looks as if Sutherland is another passenger now. He doesn't seem to be contributing, so it's up to Juul Jensen of Tinkoff and Lagak of Française de Jeux, because Movistar have got a reasonable fast finisher, Enrique Sanz, just behind. So again, a lot of thoughts, a lot of intelligent thinking from a lot of the riders. You have to think in a situation like this, no race radios, how can we win the stage? What's the best scenario for us? This rider here, Payot, good time trialist, you can see 4:28. He doesn't have to ride 6:44 for Lizarralde. He doesn't have to ride either, because at the end of the day, the only success that they're going to be looking are not gaining time today, but a good stage place.
Columbia determined, but 33 seconds, so are the breakaway. We said the rule of thumb is a minute for 10k, and this is the kind of terrain where that actually counts. However, when you've got some proper talent up front as well, and are not overly motivated, or at least a chasing pack that are starting to ask questions as to work rate and who's going to do most of it, then there's a chance. And to my mind, I think the breakaway is going to make it with 34 seconds the gap. Nobody's really picked up the pace, 9.5 kilometers remaining, and that's going to disappear before you know it. So I'm afraid it looks, to my mind anyway, that this is going to be about minor places for these guys. They'll have to fight for those points that are on offer. And Colombia being lent on, and Movistar, I think, glad that somebody else has actually come up and engaged a bit of drive.
Yeah, good to see Colombia coming up. They did have a man in the breakaway. He was brought back, and so they want to try and get something out today. The wave of the hands goes up for Europcar, just to say, come on guys, we need to get organised, and you know, that's what's happening. A car outside of the road as well. So Europcar take over. I still think that this is going to come down to a bunch finish. I think the riders in front are not riding all together, not riding flat out, and will all come back together for a finish. Whether we see some riders clipping off, because it's a kind of difficult, slight uphill finish in the last few kilometres, we'll have to wait and see. But other teams are getting organised. You see AG2R also coming up, and there's a lot of rivalry between the French teams, and you know, they'll want to try and get something from this stage as well.
Christophe Riblon started off as one of the pre-race favourites, and AG2R Le Mondial would like him to go well. He's 53rd place, but remains only 13 seconds down. Julien Berard is a man who can go long in situations such as today offers up. It's 31 seconds, so it's just widening the gap ever so slightly with 8.4 kilometers to go. These guys are working well, and it was interesting to see on police duty, essentially, Tinkoff, Saxo and Movistar just mobbing the road ever so slightly and disrupting the chase down for Europcar and everybody else. And that's because they got men in the break, and why should they help out? Well, it's down to a number of teams to reach out and grab for today, and I think they're going to lean on Team Europcar as much as they can. That happened yesterday. They ran out of steam. Will these guys? 8 to go. Still, it's almost solid at the moment, around the 30-second mark. Yeah,
they're holding it. There doesn't seem to be a big drive from the peloton. Colombia and Europcar were combining together, but there's some sore legs in this front group. They're trying to stay away, but you see the peloton still bunched up. It's not flat out, and it's not a really fast pace in the peloton, and it's just probably saving a little bit to drive into this last climb up towards the finish.
Well, they're looking behind, and as soon as they do that, you appreciate that they are worried. And cars, just a couple of them within the gap at the moment, but they'll be called through because the pack are now within sight of these guys. But it's a long, wide road, as you can see, and they've still got to have some belief. Certainly the chasing won't be done by Tinkoff. Mind you, I've said that in the past. During the Giro, action was called for. Often I think just shows a lack of belief in the rider up the road, but Juul Jensen is capable of winning today, and so it does come down to those who want a stage win, and Europcar are desperate. I think they badged up the first 2 days. They know that Coquard is going to suffer very much tomorrow when we go to Bagnères de Luchon, and so opportunities for a stage win on a race, as Brian was saying, is about bragging rights amongst the French team in this part of the world, the French teams in this part of the world. Europcar, of course, want to win everything they can this year. They're running out of sponsorship. At the end of the year, we'll be looking for a new title sponsor, and so just really want to show themselves for the capable unit they are. It's still 30 seconds. More kilometers are disappearing. 6.6 remaining.
And the thing is, they can see them down the road. Okay, they just turned this slight bend now, but they can see them down the road. They can see the cars behind them. It's going up to 31 seconds. Europcar really not driving this as fast, and this front group, the strongest rider seems to be Juul Jensen for Tinkoff. Wants to get something out to today's stage. A lot of teams just sitting back, but they do have some passengers. But nice to see that actually Pedersen and Payot were actually giving this trio a turn at the front when they could.
Yep, absolutely, and they've sort of buying the right to fight, I think you might say. I'd love to see how Pedersen finishes this one. I wouldn't be surprised if even within this group we see attacks coming a little bit late on. Juul Jensen might well just keep something in the bank, but here comes Sutterlin, Movistar, so they are not going to be chasing on. He goes for it, and indeed guides Ollie Le Gac, who's the big threat, Legac the most to gain today by finishing well within this group. If they all come home together, Legac will beat our leader. For Francis de Gea, he'll take over the orange jersey. No demands being put on some of the passengers along here. Lizarralde, who's worked very, very hard today in the pale green. It looks like he's suffering. And of course, it is Legac that's got most to gain, and so he's doing most of the work today. He doesn't have to win the stage, he just needs to finish with a decent gap on everybody else. He's only 13 seconds down and takes this nice wide swooping bend. They've only found 3 seconds in the last kilometre, the chasers.
Yeah, they have a good move from the rider from Francis de Gea. Only 13 seconds off the pace of Trone, the leader, 21-year-old Frenchman, and you know, a neo-professional with Francis de Gea riding intelligently, but Europcar really still not driving it as hard as they could. You can just see Alex Dowsett was coming up with Nairo Quintana, keeping him up towards the front, and doing a good job for the Movistar team. It
was a mob, really. They came to the fore, they just drifted in front of Europcar, slowed down, not exactly dabbing the brakes, but certainly dropped the cadence, and then Europcar had to pick it up again. They're being disrupted, Europcar, and they don't like it at all. Tinkoff Saxo also have a man up there, so the men in yellow also doing a pincer movement, just grabbing these guys, acting like anchors. Just under 5 kilometres to go, 26 seconds. It's holding, Brian. It looks like the breakaway may well just make it tantalisingly close, unless somebody's got a lot of strength today.
Yeah, they're leaving it up to Europcar, and it depends. This all hinges over other teams. Does someone want to come up and help out the chase of Europcar and bring it all for a sprint finish, or they're going to leave it up and you know, these 6 riders are going to take the first 6 places in the stage today?
Well, if it gets to 3, it's absolutely done and dusted, but it always looked like a healthy breakaway, this one. And Christoph Juul Jensen is the favoured man to take the stage. And look, it's the teams of men who are in the break that are coming to the fore, and this is about disruption. This is very clever stuff. And you know the pace can't be that high, no disrespect, but the land army are mobbing on the left-hand side of the road. So right as we look at this picture right now, and I'm afraid Europcar have been bitten again today. Yeah, well, it's still not finished. It did mean they can ride and hold it. They're holding it to just between 20-25 seconds now, but it does mean that another team has to come up and help. I thought the Army team were starting to come up, but they're just coming up and bringing the rider up. They're not actually riding on the front. And this is the result. Juul Jensen kicks off. He knows the action there. The car not quick enough to get through. He wanted that part of the road. He drifts over to it. The man in the yellow and blue of Tinkoff Saxo. He's on full belt right now. He knows it was 20-second gap. 3.7 kilometres to go. This is him reaching out for glory and trying to stay on his wheel at the moment. Is Ollie Gak from Francis de Gea. He'll take a big leap forward and in fact take the leader's jersey if these guys make it home. 18 seconds with 3.5 kilometres to go, and look, the help has happened and a bomb's gone off. AG Tour Le Mondial are now joining the chase, and this means that those up the road are potentially doomed because there's a lot of firepower here. Yeah, that was the difference. That's what we said. It needs one other team to come up to the front to help out Europcar. Europcar were not bringing these riders back, and another team came up. The World Tour team of AG Tour came up, and that means that with only 16 seconds coming up to 3 kilometres to go, it's going to be a bunch finish. Yeah, 17 seconds though. It's pulling out again, courtesy of the drive that's being put in by Chris Juul Jensen. I don't know whether Movistar can possibly disrupt this right now, but it's down to about 4 or 5 riders at the front, mainly from AG Tour Le Mondial, who are doing the driving. 17 seconds, 2.9 kilometres to go, and all of a sudden it's also joining the fun is Sutterlin. The German drives it on right now. You're gonna see the pack just hove into view. There's not much space between them. The rises and falls do play into the hands of these guys up the road. They check again, don't see anything, and then as soon as they look forward, the pack do appear. They've still got some belief. They didn't see what they wanted to see. We did, though, what they were searching for, and right now I think they're searching for salvation. 17 seconds it says. You pick a marker on the road and then do your own count back. It's probably about right, but maybe just a couple of seconds shy of that. Still got a lot of power up front with 2.3 to go. Yeah, like Legac is the rider from France that you're driving it. Juul Jensen has already tried to attack, but other riders are starting to sit back. They're playing the game. Sutherland can't play because they've got Enrique Sanz behind, who's a good enough sprinter to win this stage, especially in this uphill finish, and he just sitting there. If they stay away, then he'll attack in the last kilometre. If they're brought back, then they're brought back, and someone else from the Movistar team will have to look after Sanz. There we are, 2 kilometres to go, 14 13 seconds is the gap. Tantalizing stuff. 1900 meters only to the end. Now it does kick up. That's going to favor Chris Juul Jensen from Tinkoff Saxo. Let's see how much he's got left in his legs. 13 seconds now with 1800 meters to go. This is fascinating stuff. There's a big turn, don't forget, in about 1K's time. If they get to that, they've got a big chance if they're holding 10 seconds. We'll see. It's then going to be a drag race up to the line. They may well get mobbed and hearts broken. 12 seconds though.
Yeah, Juul Jensen goes again. It's the second time he's done it. A big attack, disrupting the chase a little. He doesn't want to take anybody to the line. He wants to win this alone, and this is the second time in pretty much 2 or 3 kilometers he's gone on the attack, and Sutherland tries to go with him and brings him back.
Juul Jensen weaves all over the road, doesn't want to offer any kind of protection to anybody else. The Flamme Rouge is approaching. They've got about 500 meters to go before they make the big turn and then start that climb yet again. It does rise and fall the road, and they've still got a chance. Clock's out. Juul Jensen is out of the breakaway though, and he's got a gap at the moment, about 10 bike lengths, and he's still going to drive this on. He's got to try for individual glory only. There's nothing else to do today, and he almost gets caught out by a piece of raised road furniture, essentially a dirty great big stripe of concrete. He has to bunny hop over that, knocks out his cadence ever so slightly. Sutherland from Movistar tries to get on his wheel, and here come the pack. They're starting to reach out. They're going to grab one of the breakaway riders who was up for so much of the day, but right now it's about this man out front. Can Juul Jensen hold on? 800 meters to go. Here's his turn. He makes it. He's going to make this turn and start his climb. Can he bring it in?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Juul Jensen has gone long in this one. Sutherland is a rider from Movistar has brought him back. Legac is in there. Pedersen is still hanging in there, but Legac is hanging on the back. He's the best place in the general classification. We start the incline now, and the peloton are right behind them.
They're right behind them. What has Pedersen got left? Absolutely nothing. Oh, they're picking up the pieces of what has been a busy day. Peyo tries to just grind out some time trialing skill right now. He's up the rise, and the road's running out. Can he possibly make it from the original breakaway? It would be an amazing effort by him if he does so. Team Marseille, 13 KTM, and guess who bridges over? Oli Legac knows that this is for the leader's jersey. 300 meters to go, and the chasers are onto him right now. AG Tour Le Mondial are going to break his heart, I'm afraid. And here they come. Points leader's jersey wearer as well is also in the frame. Arnie wants a piece of the day. So does everybody else, and suddenly Coquard from absolutely nowhere. He's here, but will he manage to take it on this final bend? Coquard eating everybody up right now. There's the line. Oh, he had the time. What about that? Well, that was a conundrum. But I tell you something, Bryan Coquard delivered at the very last.
What a magnificent finish. Would they hang on? Would they get caught? We're always guessing all the way towards the line, and you know, a great finish. He came from nowhere. The team were kind of floundering in the last 25 kilometers to bring the break back. What a strong performance from Juul Jensen to try and keep that breakaway to the finish. It was just the difficulty of this last kilometer. Bryan Coquard was delivered in the perfect place. AG Tour Le Mondial was the rider on the attack now. He got inside the last 300 meters, but Coquard just been brought up now. Romain Hardy was up there with the green jersey for Cofidis also. So as we enter into the last 200 meters, look at the sheer speed of Coquard. Just bang out the pack, takes the win and takes it with ease.
Certainly does. What an amazing kick that was.